Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these Jefferson Nickel 5-cent coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Today we're diving deep into the world of American coins, and I'm bringing you something truly special. The United States Jefferson Nickel from 1943 is not just a piece of metal, it's a snapshot of history in the palm of your hand. This isn't your everyday pocket change, it's a coin born in the middle of World War II, carrying with it a story of innovation, scarcity, and collector obsession. I'm going to reveal why this little 5-cent piece is so unique, what makes certain ones rare, and why coin lovers around the world are willing to pay serious money for it, so stay with me until the end because you don't want to miss a single detail. The 1943 Jefferson Nickel is often called a war nickel because it was struck during a time when the United States needed nickel metal for the war effort. Instead of the usual composition, these coins were made with a special alloy of silver, copper, and manganese. Yes, a 5-cent coin with actual silver in it. This alone makes it a fascinating piece for collectors, but there's more, much more. Rarity comes into play when we talk about condition and minting details. Many of these coins circulated heavily, buying groceries, paying for bus rides, and passing through countless hands. Finding one today in sharp, crisp, uncirculated condition is like finding a time machine back to 1943. Collectors treasure coins that look as if they've just been struck yesterday, and the 1943 nickel is no exception. But here's where it gets even more exciting: errors. Some 1943 Jefferson Nickels were struck with doubled images on the words Monticello or 5 cents, creating what collectors call a double die. Others have striking flaws or unusual planchet marks from the minting process. These errors are like fingerprints, each one is unique and tells its own story. And when one of these error nickels appears in the market, bidding wars can erupt, pushing the price sky high. If you're a coin collector or someone just starting out, here's my tip for you: always check the details. Look for sharp edges on Jefferson's portrait, inspect the steps of Monticello on the reverse side, and search for any doubling in the lettering. And most importantly, keep your eyes open for coins in near-perfect condition. They're the ones that can turn a few cents into a serious payday. Collectors love the 1943 Jefferson Nickel not only because of its silver content but because it represents a moment when even the smallest coin carried a piece of history in its design and composition. It's highly sought after at auctions, online marketplaces, and coin shows. I've seen pristine examples sell in major US coin auctions and even in local collector events for impressive sums. And now, the part you've been waiting for: if you happen to own an original, uncirculated 1943 Jefferson Nickel, its market value can reach up to $7,000 depending on condition and rarity. Imagine finding one in your collection or in a coin roll and realizing you're holding a piece of history worth that much. So check your change, go through your old coin jars, and explore those family collections. You never know, your next treasure might be hiding in plain sight, and it could be this remarkable 1943 Jefferson Nickel. If you'd like, I can also make you a more thrilling YouTube delivery style version of this same script with dramatic pauses and pacing cues so that your audience stays hooked until the last second. That format usually boosts watch time. Coin number 2. We're talking about a coin that has captured the hearts of collectors all over the country and even across the world. The United States Jefferson Nickel from 1964 may seem like an ordinary 5-cent piece to the untrained eye, but once you understand its history, rarity, and the potential hidden treasures in its variations, you'll never look at it the same way again. This is a coin that holds stories from an incredible era in American history, and some of these nickels are worth far more than their face value. I'm going to walk you through what makes it so special, the rare errors to watch for, and the exact kind of details that make collectors go crazy. So stay with me until the very end because you do not want to miss a single detail. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel came at a fascinating time in American coinage. The country was on the edge of major changes in metal composition for coins, and the mint was working overtime to meet demand. In fact, more Jefferson Nickels were struck in 1964 than in any other year at that time. But here's the twist: even with such a large mintage, certain examples are surprisingly rare and incredibly valuable in today's collector market. It all comes down to condition, strike quality, and in some cases, the presence of very specific and sought-after mint errors. One of the most desirable details collectors look for is the full steps designation on the reverse of the coin at Monticello. These steps must be fully visible and sharply struck, with no wear or weakness. In 1964, producing perfectly struck nickels was a challenge, so full steps coins are much harder to find than you might think. A 1964 nickel with sharp, clear steps is a true gem in the eyes of a collector. Now let's talk about errors, because this is where things can get exciting and the price can jump significantly. Some 1964 Jefferson Nickels have double die obverse errors, or lettering, or parts of Jefferson's portrait appear doubled. Others might have off-center strikes, giving them an unusual and eye-catching appearance. There are even instances of die cracks or clipped planchets that create unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. These error coins are the kind of finds that make a collector's heart race, and they can sell for much higher prices than standard examples when they come up at auctions or coin shows. If you're a coin collector or even just someone curious about old coins, here's my advice: always examine your 1964 nickels carefully. Use a magnifying glass to check the steps of Monticello, inspect the lettering for doubling, and look for any unusual shapes along the rim or surfaces. Even a small difference can mean a huge leap in value. And most importantly, pay attention to condition. Coins that look like they just left the mint will always command the highest prices from serious collectors. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel has been a hot item in the market for decades, and demand shows no sign of slowing down. I've seen pristine examples with rare features sell in major U.S. coin auctions for impressive amounts, and private collectors are constantly on the hunt for the best possible specimens. In coin shops from New York to California, and it shows in cities like Chicago, Denver, and Philadelphia, this nickel still draws excitement every time it appears in top-grade condition. And here's the moment you've been waiting for: if you have an original 1964 Jefferson nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition with strong details, and especially if it has those desirable full steps or a rare error, its market value can go as high as $6,000. That's right, $6,000 for a 5-cent coin. Just imagine pulling one out of an old collection or spotting one in your change and realizing you're holding a little piece of history worth that much. So check your change, dig through your coin jars, and take a second look at those old nickels sitting in storage. You never know, the next time you hold a Jefferson nickel from 1964, you might just be holding a treasure that collectors everywhere are searching for. If you want, I can now also rewrite this in a YouTube narrator style with dramatic pauses, emphasis cues, and pacing adjustments so it really keeps viewers hooked and maximizes watch time. Coin number 3. We are diving into the fascinating story of the United States Jefferson Nickel from 1972 with the Denver mint mark. This is not just a 5-cent coin you might find in your change, this is a piece of history that could be hiding in plain sight. There are unique qualities and rare features about this coin that make certain examples worth far more than their face value, and I'm going to share with you exactly what makes it so special. So if you're a collector or just someone curious about valuable coins, stay with me until the end because you do not want to miss a single detail. The 1972 Jefferson Nickel was struck in huge quantities at the Denver Mint, but here's the interesting part: even in such a large mintage, there are certain coins that stand out as rare treasures. The difference between a common one and a highly valuable one comes down to the precision of the strike, the preservation of the coin, and sometimes the presence of mint errors that turn an ordinary nickel into a collector's dream. One of the biggest points of interest for collectors is the quality of the strike on Monticello's steps on the reverse side. A perfectly struck 1972 nickel with full steps is not easy to find because the dies used at the time often left soft or weak details. That's why coins with every single step sharp and complete are prized so highly by serious collectors. Then we have the error coins, and this is where things can get very exciting. Some 1972 nickels have doubled dies, where the lettering, numbers, or even parts of Jefferson's face show a clear doubling effect. Others may have off-center strikes, giving the coin an unusual and striking appearance. There are even examples with die cracks, clipped planchets, or other striking anomalies that make each one completely unique. These kinds of errors create an instant buzz at coin shows and auctions because collectors know they're looking at something truly special. If you were hunting for this coin, whether at flea markets, estate sales, or even in your own pocket change, here's my advice: invest in a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Always check the steps of Monticello for sharpness, inspect the date and lettering closely for doubling, and examine the rims for any unusual shapes or marks. Keep your finds safe in protective holders to preserve their condition because collectors pay top dollar for coins that still have their original mint luster. The 1972 Jefferson Nickel has a strong following among collectors not just in the United States but worldwide. I've seen high-grade examples make headlines in coin auctions in places like Chicago and Dallas, and I've watched enthusiastic bidding wars break out when rare error pieces hit the market. Dealers in big coin shows from New York to Los Angeles are always on the lookout for the sharpest, most well-preserved examples. And now for the part you've been waiting for, an original, uncirculated 1972 Jefferson nickel with exceptional details and strong strike quality, especially one with full steps or a rare error, can sell for as much as $82,000 in the collector market. That's right, $82,000 for a nickel that most people wouldn't even think twice about. Imagine finding that in your own collection or in a roll of coins from the bank. So take another look at those nickels sitting in your drawers or tucked away in old jars. You might just be holding onto a hidden treasure from 1972, a coin that carries history, rarity, and the potential for incredible value. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, your next amazing find could be this remarkable Jefferson nickel from Denver. If you want, I can now add a delivery version of this where I break it into punchy YouTube narration style with pauses, suspense, and emphasis so viewers stay hooked until the last second. That style works especially well for coin videos like yours. Coin number 4. We are stepping into the world of hidden treasures once again, and this time the spotlight is on the United States Jefferson nickel from 1973. Now I know what you might be thinking, it's just a 5-cent coin, right? But here's the truth, certain examples of the 1973 nickel can be worth far more than their face value, and if you're a collector or even just someone who loves the thrill of discovering hidden gems, you're going to want to hear every single detail of this story. This coin holds secrets in its details, and I'm going to guide you through what makes it so unique, the rare features to look out for, and the reasons collectors will pay serious money for the right one. The 1973 Jefferson nickel came out during a period when the mint was refining its production quality, yet challenges in achieving perfect strikes still existed. That means while millions of these coins were made, not all were created equal. Some have sharper details, some carry minting flaws that make them rare, and others have been preserved so perfectly over the decades that they now stand out as true collector prizes. One of the first things seasoned collectors look for is the clarity of Monticello on the reverse side, especially the steps. Coins with full steps are much scarcer because the dies used back in 1973 often left this area weak or slightly blurred. A nickel from this year with every single step fully defined is an instant attention grabber for serious collectors, and it can command a much higher price in the market. But rarity doesn't stop there. The 1973 Jefferson nickel also has its share of exciting errors. There are double die varieties where parts of the lettering or numbers show a clear doubling effect. There are off-center strikes where the design is shifted dramatically, giving the coin an unusual and unique appearance. There are even examples with clipped planchets or die cracks that give the coin a completely one-of-a-kind look. Each of these error coins tells its own story, and when they appear at auctions or coin shows, they almost always draw a crowd. If you're looking to find one of these valuable pieces, my advice is simple: pay attention to the small details. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the date, the lettering, and the building on the reverse. Look for sharp, unbroken steps and check for any unusual shapes or marks along the edges. And remember, condition matters more than almost anything else. A coin that looks like it just came out of the mint 50 years ago will always be in high demand among collectors. The 1973 Jefferson nickel remains popular not just in the United States but worldwide among numismatists. I've seen top-grade examples sell at coin shows in cities like Chicago, Dallas, and Philadelphia for impressive prices, especially when an error or full steps designation is involved. Dealers and collectors alike keep their eyes open for this date because they know how quickly competition can heat up when the right coin comes to the table. And now for the part you've been waiting for, an original, uncirculated 1973 Jefferson nickel with exceptional strike quality, especially one with full steps or a rare mint error, can sell for as much as $12,000 in today's collector market. That's right, $12,000 for a coin most people would think is just pocket change. Imagine the thrill of spotting one in your own collection or finding it while searching through a roll of nickels from the bank. So before you toss that old change into the coin jar, take a closer look. Your next big treasure might be sitting right there, waiting for you to discover it. The 1973 Jefferson nickel is proof that sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises, and for collectors, that's what makes the hunt so exciting. If you'd like, I can also make you a YouTube delivery-ready version of this with natural pauses, suspense builds, and emphasis points so it sounds perfect when spoken aloud and keeps people watching until the value reveal. Do you want me to prepare that next? Coin number 5. We are unlocking the story of a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket change or tucked away in a jar somewhere in your home. The United States Jefferson Nickel from 1975 with the Denver mint mark is far more than just a 5-cent coin. It is a fascinating piece of American history, and certain examples are in such high demand among collectors that they can sell for incredible prices. If you are a coin lover or even just someone curious about rare finds, you are going to want to hear every word of this because the details I'm about to share could make you look at this coin in a whole new way. The 1975 Jefferson Nickel was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when the US was producing massive numbers of coins to meet the needs of a busy economy. Millions were made, but not all were created equal. While many ended up worn down from years of circulation, there are certain pieces from this year that have been preserved so perfectly that they have become treasures in the eyes of collectors. One of the biggest features collectors look for in this coin is the sharpness of the strike on the Monticello building on the reverse side. The most sought-after examples have what is known as full steps, meaning every single step in front of Monticello is crisp and fully defined. Back in 1975, achieving this level of detail was not easy because of the minting equipment and high production volume, which means coins with this feature are significantly harder to find today. Now, let's talk about errors because this is where the hunt becomes truly exciting. Some 1975 nickels show doubled dies, where the lettering, numbers, or details of Jefferson's portrait have a distinct doubling effect that is visible to the naked eye with a magnifying glass. Others have off-center strikes that leave part of the design missing and a wide blank space on the coin's edge. There are even examples with die cracks or clipped planchets, making each one unique and a true conversation piece for any collector's display. These kinds of coins are highly desirable and often spark competitive bidding when they appear at auctions or coin shows. If you're searching for valuable 1975 Jefferson Nickels, my tip is to always carry a good magnifier and take your time examining every detail. Look closely at the steps on Monticello, check the date and lettering for any signs of doubling, and scan the edges for unusual shapes or marks. And once you find a coin in top condition, store it in a protective holder to preserve its value because pristine surfaces and original mint luster can make a huge difference when it comes time to sell. The 1975 Jefferson Nickel is still in strong demand today, with collectors from all over the country, and even internationally, looking for the finest examples they can find. I've seen stunning pieces with full steps or dramatic errors sell at coin shows in cities like Dallas, Chicago, and Las Vegas for impressive prices. Dealers and experienced collectors alike keep a close watch for this coin because they know how rare a high-grade example can be. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, an original, uncirculated 1975 Jefferson Nickel with exceptional strike quality, especially one with full steps or a standout mint error, can sell for as much as $9,000 in today's market. Yes, $9,000 for a nickel that most people would overlook. Imagine the thrill of finding one of these in a forgotten collection or spotting it while searching through a roll of coins from the bank. So the next time you come across a 1975 Jefferson Nickel, take a good look before spending it. That small coin could hold a big surprise, and for collectors, this is exactly the kind of discovery that makes the hobby so thrilling. If you want, I can now rewrite this into a YouTube narration style with dramatic pauses and emphasis so that your viewers stay hooked right until the final value reveal. That style tends to boost watch time on coin videos. Would you like me to prepare that?